If there was any morality within him, he knows that's not true. He knows that's not true. This is a young guy. He is smart. He knows. And I can only imagine that he is better off in the bag of the political establishment than speaking the truth and making money on his own. He would be just as big. He would be Black Joe Rogan if he told the truth. But he's not. He's a puppet. What is up? My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. This, of course, is the epicenter for all of your current and captivating coastal elite chaos. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment or two, share this with a friend. Let's go. All right, first things first, the WHO supervillain claims that disease X is upon us. It's not a matter of if, but when, and there could not be anything more predictable, right? In 2024, in an election year, the WHO guy says that this is definitely going to happen. We just don't know when, right? The only thing possibly more predictable would be for the political regime establishment hacks to come out and say, we need to get the guns off the streets as soon as something bad happens in any city across the country. Then there's the truckers for Trump, who may or may not be boycotting, delivering to New York because they, just like everybody with a brain, realizes all of the witch hunts are completely fraudulent. And speaking of completely fraudulent witch hunts, we have to revisit the Trump sneaker, right? I spoke very briefly about it the other day. But the article here says, Trump's high-top sneakers sell out hours after launch. And I need to make it crystal 127.5% clear that I know a lot about sneakers, okay? I mean, before this was a mainstream thing, before Kanye and Adidas, before the Yeezy Pods, before the Trump high-tops, I mean, I was there. Right? I mean, the Kanye West Nikes in 2009, first come, first serve, Jordan lineups. I mean, when I was a kid, before this was popular, there is really very few things I understand more than the culture, the subculture of collecting sneakers. And not once in all of my years of doing this have I really ever spoken about politics with any of those people, right? You make friends at the campouts, you make friends online, you trade, you buy, and never once, to my recollection, did we ever speak about politics. And now Donald Trump is selling high-top golden sneakers at SneakerCon, and the mainstream media is absolutely losing it. But you've alienated everybody, right? Was there ever a point where people thought, man, those crazy conservative conspiracy theorist sneakerheads? No, it's just like the truckers. Like the truckers, I believe, are typically in unions, which don't traditionally lean more conservative, right? These blue dog Democrats, these union Democrats, but you've alienated quite literally everyone. So not only has Trump launched this sneaker line and it immediately sells out, but on eBay, it looks like they're going for more than $6,000. So from $399 to $6,000 at the time of recording, 27 bids, and it's going to end in only 14 and a half minutes. So you've alienated everybody, okay? And that's why Biden has his little mouthpiece coming out and saying, Trump is selling fake off-whites. What are you talking about, bro? You have literally spit in the face of everybody. There was never a point when the sneakerhead contingent was stone cold conservative. There was never a point when the truck drivers were stone cold conservative. And now, while Donald Trump is selling out sneakers in a matter of hours, they're hitting the aftermarket for exponentially more money. Could Joe Biden get the reception at SneakerCon that Donald Trump did? Absolutely not. Could Joe Biden sell a $400 pair of sneakers that would hit the aftermarket for $6,000? Absolutely not. Could Joe Biden give away a pair of sneakers that somebody would want to wear? Doubt it. Could Joe Biden pay you enough money to wear sneakers with his name on it? I highly doubt it. And that's why you have this weirdo talking head talking about, they're smug. They're very mean people. They're completely smug, and they are holier than thou. And then when you realize that the Biden campaign has absolutely no chance, that's when they resort to sending out Rachel Levine. All right, so here it is once again, and it's not worth rewatching, but it is worth realizing that this is the final and most essential ask. There is no way that when they put this person out there to pander to black people, that is them just scraping at the bottom of the barrel, because anybody who was willing to believe this made sense or this was a good idea will quite obviously buy whatever is being sold to them. I mean, you could be on the progressive left, you could be left, right, and center. If you bought this, you will buy anything they're selling. It doesn't make any sense. That's how stupid they think you are. And when they realize that they've turned on everybody. Nobody likes you. The sneakerheads were trying to stay out of it. Nobody wanted to get political, but you guys have ruined everything to the point where they have, sneakerheads for Trump signs. And now you are telling us that this lady man in an army suit wants you to believe that the weather is racist. I mean, there's absolutely no way. So there's some sort of maniacal, diabolical scheme here that if you buy this, then you're all in, quite clearly. In a little bit of an update, right, because we talked about Kenny Smith and how the media was mad at him because he made sexist, misogynist comments that the woman should shoot from the woman's three-point line. But also, during All-Star Weekend, Charles Barkley once again let San Francisco, and the Bay Area as a whole, I suppose, have it. And in my opinion, he kept it really nice. Now, let's keep in mind that, Chuck and Draymond kind of have this little back and forth, and Charles has in the past had some pretty spicy things to say about the Bay Area. But they're not the only area in his crosshairs, right? I think he's also kind of gone viral for talking pretty spicy about San Antonio, but that's a different story. And my point here is that Charles Barkley, this is what they say. Charles Barkley again bashed San Francisco. This time around, talk of the cold Indianapolis. If you had the chance to choose between being cold or being around a bunch of homeless crooks in San Francisco, which would you take? And again, that's putting it really nicely.
Hey, Reggie.
Yes.
If you had a chance of being cold or being around a bunch of homeless crooks in San Francisco, when you
that's crazy.
You're not welcome. They're not letting you in. You're not welcome.
We love San Francisco.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
You can't even walk around down there.
Yes, you can walk around.
Yeah, with a bullet.
Yeah, okay, so there's Draymond guarding his garbage like a raccoon on trash day. And why wouldn't he, right? Draymond Green's filthy rich. He doesn't have to live in the squalor. He doesn't have to walk over the needles and the tents every single day. But here's the thing. Chuck is being really nice here. Yeah, homeless crooks, bro, that is the least of your worries, right? Some junkies who are going to be boosting from the store, boosting from Walgreens and CVS until they have to close is the least of your worries. You have the homegrown regular thugs who just need bread for their families. They're breaking into cars. They're also stealing stuff. They're stealing Rolex. I mean, this is crazy. The fences operation, which they banned for 90 days. So think about that. San Francisco got up on their high horse and decided they were going to enforce the law for 90 days. But that's a different story. So there's homeless crooks who may or may not be doing some shifty things, downtown San Francisco. There's actual, not the rapper, but young thugs, right? 20-something thugs who are going to be terrorizing the retail stores, along with the bums and the cars, all that type of stuff. And then, of course, that we just cannot forget the worst of them all, the political thugs, right? So we just saw the other day of a man who talks about the tyranny and all the hoops he has to jump through to run a restaurant. So you've got the political thugs who are going to constantly blame the police for crime going up in Oakland and San Francisco. Oh, that's a police misconduct. Federal monitors, completely corrupt. Then you got that same regime establishment who is going to say, oh, well, these businesses have to pay a fine because they handed out a plastic straw or they handed out a paper straw without the customer asking. Or there's this rule now where you can't use plastic gift cards. So they are obviously targeting the business owner. They are targeting the police. They're trying to usher in a $50 minimum wage and complete communism. So what Chuck, while what Chuck said here is correct, I would venture to say he's being nice, right? And Kenny Smith, for the record, was actually being even nicer about, I don't know, having the lady shoot at the ladies' 3-point line against the best person to ever hold a not ever hold a basketball, but to ever shoot a basketball. My point here is Chuck is completely correct. Kenny Smith is completely correct. And when did we reach this point? We're saying blatantly, clearly, obvious things has become the outrage. I'm offended that you're offended. How about that? And sticking with the California insanity, right? I mean, this is the Coastal Elite Chaos channel. The migrants, are off the hook today, but we'll get back to them later. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom, who ruined San Francisco and then graduated to California governor after he had slept with his best friend's wife and went into some outpatient Alcoholics Anonymous program, because that was the reason why he chose to sleep with his friend's wife. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes there? But that was many years ago. He also has since said that, well, we were going to clean up homelessness in 10 years. That was in 2008. The 10-year anniversary of that, of course, came and went. But now this man is on an absolute tear, okay? Every time I turn on YouTube, Hulu, Pluto, or whatever these weird Tubi apps, there is a Gavin Newsom commercial. I'm at the point where I'm now completely opposite of whatever brainwashed sheepies might be happening in California. So some people might look at that and say, oh yeah, Prop 1, Gavin Newsom, good. But the point is, it doesn't matter what's in the bill. If Gavin Newsom is pushing it, it's got to be bad. And they're going to make it incredibly difficult to find out what's in the bill anyways, if you wanted to. So just from a quick Google search, Newsom's Prop 1 for mental health deserves support. California Proposition 1 election voter guide, Governor Newsom's mental health. Newsom allies back Prop 1, mental health. Bipartisan support for Prop 1 on mental health. I mean, this is just ridiculous. What is Prop 1? Digging into plan rolled out by Governor Newsom. Newsom's Prop 1 aims to tackle growing problem, whatever. Gavin Newsom raised millions for his mental health ballot. It's ridiculous. Then there's some tweets from him, I guess, and he's going to, of course, get on his high horse about the guns. Oh, Kansas City, Missouri. Governor Newsom puts historic mental health transformation. Proposition 1, behavioral health services. Proposition 1 is complicated. First ad keeps it simple. So this is just ridiculous. It's all propaganda on the front page of Google. And I did do a little bit of research into this epidemic of mental health services. And of course, as you'd expect, maybe there's, a larger, more detailed video to be made about this. But if you just Google mental health services near me, you will find that all of these mental health facilities are just dripping in weirdo LGBTQ propaganda. So you may go in because you had a fight with your spouse or your parents or your brother or whatever. You're going through some tough times. So you go in and all they're going to do is convince you that you're gay and or a transformer and take a bunch of pills. It's all a complete scam at its very best. But the mental health thing is not why I'm here, right? So that's the language they're using here. So they're not going to tell you exactly what it's all about. It's really a scam to give Gavin Newsom control of $6 billion. But here's the one. From CBS Bay Area, some advocates worry Prop 1 on March ballot would worsen homelessness crisis. And yeah, quite obviously, that's all you need to know. If Gavin Newsom is pushing a bill, do the opposite. If you can't tell that this is a scam by now, obviously I can't help you. But it doesn't even matter what they say in this article. They break it down and basically let you know that for years now, the state has been throwing money at this problem, which quite clearly is getting filtered through the pockets of bureaucrats all over the place. And then they might build one, clean needle facility or something. And the best part, after spending 500 or so words, basically sugarcoating the fact that it's all a scam and the money is not going to help, at the very end, they try to reel you back in and make you believe that Gavin Newsom is going to help because Solis Kowalski, who uses the pronoun they, found themselves sleeping in their truck after a breakup a few weeks ago and said that the center kept them from ending up chronically homeless. Quote, It's a healthy outlet for me to come where people will listen and give you advice, Kowalski said. I've been working on myself and being more productive. Me having this chance, I'm blown away. So, yeah, you should vote for Prop 1 because a weirdo, they, them, got out of living in a truck. I mean, how is there never another side to this story, right? We just think that this transformer was helped by this program that was funded by the government, but there's nothing else to be said about maybe what that person may or may not have been doing, right? I mean, you go to the Tenderloin right now and you're going to see banners. You're going to see the bus stops painted in transgender colors. They're trying to rename the Tenderloin district to the Transformer district, and there's a reason for that, right? It's quite obviously a shield. So if you don't like walking over tents and needles all day, then we're just going to call it the Transformer district, and now you can't say anything about it. And that's what's happening here, is that they're not gonna go into detail about this person's solace, which, come on, let's be real. Do you think a homeless transformer living in a truck wasn't doing any drugs? Give me a break. This is completely disgusting. So after 500 plus words of them telling you that they've been trying to spend money on this problem for decades, they reel it in by saying you should do it anyways because this transformer likes it. Give me a break. And for the record, this is what Gavin Newsom is on an absolute tear about. He must have spent millions of dollars. Every time I turn on a YouTube video or a Hulu show, it's Gavin Newsom talking about Prop 1, and it's so greasy and so dishonest. One of Greasy Gavin's partners in crime. Now, there has been a little bit of back and forth when Scott will author some extreme bill, and even Gavin Newsom has to be like, no, it doesn't make sense. We're not doing that. But Scott Wiener, the creepiest man in all of American politics. I mean, the list is long with this guy. But he has posted to his Instagram, I guess, a photo from some news article he did. Says, stay a while. Senator Scott Wiener wants to bring fun back to downtown San Francisco. Yeah, we're just going to bring back... What are you talking about, bro? He wants to bring back fun? What do you mean? So you want to kick out all the junkies living in tents self-vaccinating under the Bay Bridge? Is that what you want to do? Is that what you mean by bringing back fun? This is despicable. And he says, I've now introduced 3 pieces of legislation to revitalize downtown San Francisco by. So first, let's keep in mind, there was a point in time when these people were pretending there was no problem in San Francisco. That was right-wing talking point. That was Fox News. There's nothing going on here. But now they know it's all dead. There's literally nothing left. The mall, the businesses, the crime, it's all completely collapsing. And now they want to pretend, along with Gavin Newsom and $6 billion, we're going to bring it back. Give it a... Oh, man.
I'm triggered.
He says, allowing San Francisco to accelerate physical changes downtown by giving the city a 10-year exemption from a state law that can cause significant delays in permitting due to threats, appeals, and lawsuits. Okay, so I guess what you were doing was sort of controlling everything. We talked about the political thuggery and the restaurant owners who have to jump through hoops to keep their restaurant open, and now you want to pull back on that just a little bit? Okay. Shoring up and modernizing our public transportation system by authorizing a regional ballot measure to provide long-term stable funding and require reforms and modernization to make our transit system more integrated and reliable. That is word salad if I've ever heard it. Doesn't mean anything. Then, allowing outdoor entertainment zones where people can buy food and alcoholic drinks from local businesses and enjoy them outdoors. Reforming current state liquor laws that make these zones very difficult or impossible to create in a sustainable way. Bro, okay. I mean, look, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. It is quite literally an open-air drug market. Now you're pretending, oh, well, people are going to want to drink beers on the street. Bro, they're doing fentanyl in the middle of the street and pooping, and you're talking about, oh, we should let them crack a beer in the street. All right, so back on the national level, I suppose, and this is an interview with Charlemagne the Fraud and ABC, and I think we all remember Charlemagne. He let Kamalto, Hills Up Harris, go on a show and lie about listening to Tupac and smoking weed and Snoop Dogg. He let Bo Jiden tell him directly to his face that if you didn't vote for him, you ain't black. Then he kind of pushed back on the notion of both. He may or may not be completely in the bag. He's not as bad as D.L. Hughley. So I guess on one hand, you know, a broken clock is right twice a day, and he may have his own opinions, but he may be getting direction from the top down. I don't really know what's happening, but here he is, Charlemagne the Fraud, speaking to ABC News. They say, Charlemagne the Fraud tells ABC News President Biden, quote, has no main character energy at all. So he's also talking like he's a 16-year-old, but I actually haven't seen this yet, so do it live.
One of the most influential voices in morning radio.
Yep, it's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlemagne the God, just hilarious. I don't know where the hell envy is at.
Also a television personality, podcast host, and New York Times best-selling author. His interviews...
Yeah, well, we know the New York Times thing is all completely fake. That's an editorial at its very best. It's been like that for many, many years.
With pop stars and politicians making viral moments like this.
So what's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
How could I forget that? How could I forget the hot sauce in my bag swag with Hillary Clinton? That was one of the early ones. There was also Birdman, all three of y'all. But this is from the 2016 campaign season, right? So she's pandering to the blacks to get the vote. And she lost to Donald Trump, obviously, with everything they were throwing at him.
In the last presidential election, the Breakfast Club became a must-stop for Democratic candidates. With an average of more than 6 million monthly listeners, candidates sought to appeal to its younger, diverse audience. And in 2019...
And look, obviously, I'm no expert, but I don't think the Breakfast Club is quite as influential as they make it out to be. Same thing with Taylor Swift. These are hugely popular people, but when it comes down to it, do you think the Zoomers of the world, even millennials at this point, is getting in the car and listening to Charlemagne? Maybe they're watching YouTube videos. I'm sure they're getting loads of views on YouTube or Spotify or something maybe. But this, I don't think, is quite as popular as they want you to think it is. Just like most people are not quite as stupid as they want you to think we are.
Charlemagne appeared at a campaign rally with then presidential candidate Kamala Harris. But it was his 2020 interview with Joe Biden that made the biggest splash and drew criticism of Biden for his comments on black voters.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black.
I met with Charlemagne at his radio studio to discuss the state of American politics. I saw you describe this campaign that we're headed into as a race between the cowards, the crooks, and the couch.
Crooks are the Republicans. The cowards are the Democrats because they don't fight hard enough on anything. And, you know, the cowards...
I might put that exactly opposite, right? Like, the cowards are the Republicans who cannot stand up to anything. They constantly keep inching left until there's nothing left. And the crooks are the Democrats who are quite literally siphoning. Ukraine has turned into a slush fund for the Uniparty, really. And they're both completely terrible, which is why you have publications like The Atlantic saying, oh, the Republicans don't exist anymore. It's Trump. Yeah, it is. Because he has kicked down the sandcastles. He has opened the curtain so we can all see the corruption behind it. But Charlemagne, he's completely wrong here, right? That's the point, is that the Democrats are crooks and the Republicans are cowards. He's completely backwards on that. But his brain is rotted out.
Couch is voter apathy. And, you know, that's who everybody is up against in 2024. And right now, it feels like the couch is going to win. I don't know who that benefits, you know, by the couch winning, but it feels like the couch is going to win.
What's your sense? How engaged?
What? So he's, I guess, by saying the couch, he's talking about Bo Biden. What planet is this man on? Did we not just see the enthusiastic welcome that Trump got at SneakerCon? A contingent that is typically not political at all, that Joe Biden could never pull that off. He could never sell a $400 pair of sneakers that would hit the aftermarket at $6,000. He could not give away a pair of sneakers. He could not pay you to wear a pair of sneakers. And this man wants you to believe that person is on track to winning because of what? 92 indictments. It's like, look at how much lawfare we've thrown at him. How can you continue? It's like, bro, it's you, right? It's you. Like, these are the people And I've used this analogy 100 times, but these are the people that will steal from your house and then help you look for what they stole, right? Like, look at how many charges he's facing. Why would you vote for him? It's like the charges came from you. These people are morons.
How much is your audience paying attention to this race?
My audience, I feel like my audience is America. And when I'm out and about, just, you know, walking in the street, or people are calling into the radio station, like nobody is inspired, you know, by the upcoming election. Like, you know,
Again, that's just not true. People are waking up left and right. Now, Charlemagne lives up in his ivory tower, millionaire radio host, but I promise you, I've been all over the place. From California, Wisconsin, Florida, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, okay, not everywhere. Quite obviously not everywhere. But there is some enthusiasm to get rid of the completely corrupt regime. And he's talking about nobody likes it. That's just not true. That's him softly endorsing Bo Biden.
Like, nobody wants to see the rematch between, you know, Biden and Trump. And that's what makes me feel like the couch is going to win.
Why?
This is the first time in my life when people say things like, you know, this person is a threat to democracy.
Mm-hmm. That's you. That's you, guy. Okay, so look, I stand corrected. I to be honest with you, I thought Charlemagne kind of had some thoughts of his own because he has pushed back on the narrative from time to time a tiny bit. But we know that a broken clock is right twice a day. And I was saying, well, people are saying he's a threat to democracy without. And look, I haven't seen this before. We're going to keep going. But is he going to explain what that means, or is he just going to regurgitate the talking points of the people trying to get rid of him?
It's absolutely true. And it's mind-boggling to me that, you know, nobody is taking it as serious as I feel like they should. Like, we watched an attempted coup of this country happen on January 6th.
All right. It's all starting to make sense now. He is on ABC News, which I have made a video about. And they're just, I mean, it's so bad. NBC News is really bad too, right? NBC News called for the, you know, imprisonment of libs of TikTok, right? And they are really bad. They are really activist, terrible people. But ABC News, the weirdo Epstein, Stephanopoulos connection, all of their local, okay, not all, but 90% of their local reporters are completely compromised weirdo LGBTQ hacks. So it makes sense. They put him on here to spin this story. Like, nobody is excited about this and threat to democracy and January 6th. It makes sense now. And the name Charlemagne the Fraud is incredibly fitting, right? And again, so we have the Hillary incident, but I think also perhaps more embarrassing, because after Kamala Harris could see the Hillary, the Hillary pandering, the panderverse, she could see that and still did it, and then was called out for the lie about listening to Tupac in 1982 or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. So she could have navigated that properly, but that's how stupid they think you are, is that you're not going to look under. Yeah, of course Kamala Harris was listening to Snoop Dogg in 1986, even though his first album didn't come out till 1994, whatever it is. Now, I'm probably misquoting those dates, but the point here is that they watched the corruption, they watched the pandering, and did it anyways because they think you're that stupid. They think they still have control of three-letter networks, and that's it, as if everybody doesn't have a computer in their pocket.
And everybody's acting like it was just a bunch of people, you know, wilding at spring break, you know, down in Florida. Yeah. Like, we literally watched, you know, people try to overthrow the government.
This guy is just despicable, bro. They don't ever want to talk about the numerous cities across the country that were burned down for a dope fiend, but they want to talk about, the insurrection on January 6th. It's like, you didn't even care about the government at all. You didn't care about the Constitution. You didn't care about the rule of law until it came for the regime that I guess butters your bread.
Because they didn't like the results of an election led by a former, you know, president. If that doesn't cause a sense of urgency in people, I don't know what will.
I mean, Biden does make that an issue over and over again. I mean, he constantly talks about that. Why is it not resonating?
Well, he's just an uninspiring candidate. Like, you know, there's nothing about, you know, Joe Biden that makes you want to listen to him. That's why he should be leaning on, you know, his vice president, Kamala Harris, who's way more charismatic than him.
Charlemagne now wants us to believe that people like Kamala Harris more than, oh my word.
He should be leaning on, other surrogates like, Gavin Newsom or, Shapiro in Pennsylvania. Like
Gavin Newsom, the man quite literally responsible for ruining San Francisco and then the entire state of California. The president, should be leaning on Kamala and Gavin Newsom. There's just no way. There's just no way. If this man, if he had any sense of, if there was any morality within him, he knows that's not true. He knows that's not true. This is a young guy. He is smart. He knows. And I can only imagine that he is better off in the bag of the political establishment than speaking the truth and making money on his own. He would be just as big. He would be Black Joe Rogan if he told the truth. But he's not. He's a puppet.
He should be leaning on people who are more inspiring than him, who are more charismatic than him, and he should just be, I guess, if you want to call it, the brains of the operation behind the scenes. Like, that sounds crazy that we're saying that about a president of the United States of America, but he has no main character energy at all. None.
And what is that?
And there he is. He's talking like a 16-year-old because he's been on TikTok too. He has no main character.
I'm triggered.
Look, it goes on like that. It actually gets even a little bit worse, if you can imagine. And I will put the entirety of that interview, or my response, my reaction to the entire interview, in a separate video, so be on the lookout for that. But my word, this is just complete clown world nonsense, upside down and backwards to the max. I don't know why I continue to let this stuff surprise me, but here we are. Somewhere along the line, the truth became, just completely unreasonable. Kenny Smith says a woman should shoot from the woman's three-point line. That's sexist. Charles Barkley says San Francisco is disgusting, which is completely true. And he's a weirdo lefty on a lot of other things. He has a show on CNN, for Christ's sakes. But they're surprised that Chuck says San Francisco is disgusting, which quite clearly is. Gavin Newsom is dropping millions of dollars into completing a scam that will allow him to control billions of dollars. It just never ends. But as per usual, in a classic attempt to keep the glass half full, here's a funny clip.
Okay, all right, what makes me happy is like, at night, I ride around town in a limousine, partying, having a good time. When I'm on my way home, I pass a bum and take a balloon with some champagne in it, lob it out and beat him. He only gets a little bit in his mouth. He doesn't get the whole thing, not even a full sip of it. And you say, hey, how do you like a taste of the good life, you sack of shit?
God. That is awful. That is a horrible thing to do to another human being.
Damn you.